Wake up. You will lose your country.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Oh, the inevitable crash and burn. Who would have seen this one coming? After all the hype, after all the bluster, after Democrats swearing from top to bottom that Gavin Newsom was the golden boy, in comes Gavin Newsom on a meteoric rise. His social media engagement is up 17 million billion gajillion %. Gavin Newsom's on a massive rise and MAGA is just mad. MAGA doesn't know what to do. MAGA doesn't even get it.
What do you think of Gavin Newsom? Do you think he's going to be your nominee in 2028?
I have no idea if he's going to be our nominee in 2028. I do know that he is exposing Donald Trump's playbook by using it against him, and I think it's pretty fun to see the MAGA meltdown over it.
You think so, though? Like,
Yes.
You think it's working?
I see endless people, candidly including you, responding directly to all of this stuff. I see people on Fox News saying that he should put down his Twitter account, that leaders should not be doing this. You could just find and replace Gavin Newsom and put in Donald Trump, and it would be the same thing, which is exactly what Gavin Newsom is doing. He is exposing Donald Trump's playbook, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, the narrative is that Gavin Newsom is shining, he's outshining President Trump. But then, of course, as per usual, Democrat narrative versus reality. Reality hits them in the face like a frickin' freight train. What do we actually have here? We have Gavin Newsom sitting at the absolute rock bottom, with again some more devastating polling numbers dropping. Let's tackle this Democrat gaslighting campaign, shall we? We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so we got some new numbers, and this is actually from YouGov, which of course we know skews pretty heavily to the Democrats. You can right off the top alter the numbers plus or minus at least 3 to 5 points. Of course, plus if it's Donald Trump or any Republican, and minus if it's a Democrat, so likely his numbers are even lower. But they have Gavin Newsom pegged at a 36% favorability rating, and that's with much less undecided voters in this poll. So basically, remove all the Democrat noise, and you are looking at a politician that is basically loathed by everybody except for partisan Democrats and black voters. Look at the demographics right over here. He is underwater with every single demographic, basically. Underwater with independents, young voters, men, and actually even underwater with women, which is kind of shocking. You know, he's a Democrat and he's widely viewed as a handsome man. I mean, usually you'd expect kind of like a socialist fangirl effect, but he's underwater even with women. And this is the second poll showing him recently following his whole redistricting crusade, showing him in the 30s. And of course, compare that to President Trump, the same YouGov poll, mind you, which again always underestimates President Trump's approval rating. Well, they have him sitting at 43%. Interesting, now isn't it? Yeah, it's like I tell ya, we're always hearing that Donald Trump is cratering and he's taking the GOP down with him. You know, again, we had another leftist clown on CNN pushing the same garbage take.
Pretty clear that despite the fact that Donald Trump is cratered, Republican, their brand has cratered, the Democratic brand has not recovered, and it's because
what are you talking about? What is the Democratic
trust.
Approval rating? Come on, be honest, brother. Come on, what's the Democratic approval rating and what's Donald Trump's? Come on, man.
So Scott and I actually might agree on part of this. The Democratic effort is very much dependent upon rebuilding trust with voters. And I think the way you do that is you show that you have the ability to fight, you show you have a consistent thing to say. And I think that's in progress. And I think Democrats would be wise to not ignore that, but to lean into the opportunity to do that. There's a reason why Republicans are rigging the rules right now so that they can steal a couple of extra seats going into the 2026 midterms. But that has nothing to do with what Democrats need to do in terms of rebuilding trust with the public. And I think the opportunity is there for them to do that. And the urgency to do that is right now.
Let me just correct one issue. Donald Trump is not cratered. If anybody's cratered, the Democratic Party, 33% in the Wall Street Journal poll. There's another one where they're at 19%. Trump at worst is in the mid-40s. The Republican brand is in a lot stronger position than the Democratic brand. That's number one. Number two, you're absolutely...
Scott Jennings literally laughed in his face, and I'd say rightfully so, because Donald Trump isn't cratering. No, Donald Trump is the most popular politician in the country. And it's funny because he scoffs at President Trump's 45% approval rating, but 45% for President Trump is pretty damn good. Considering all the fake pollsters, I mean, Quinnipiac just showed his approval rating at 37%. Does anybody really believe that? There's always garbage left-wing push polls bringing down his average. You know, a 45% approval rating for the president, I'd say is probably more equivalent to 50 or above 50. And just to prove that President Trump is the most most popular politician in the country, at least high-profile top party politicians. Well, just take a look at the Real Clear Politics favorability board. Still the exact same thing. You got Chuck Schumer at 27%, Hakeem Jeffries at 30%, Mike Johnson at 32%, and President Trump sitting at a pretty healthy 44%. Yet the left keeps trying to sell us this narrative that he's collapsing. It isn't happening, but it is happening for, you guessed it, California Governor Gavin Newsom. I mean, we're supposed to believe that this guy's the golden boy? More like a steaming turd. He's got it locked in. He's got the Democrats galvanized, mobilized. I don't think so. Not only is he not convincing anybody outside of his party, but it seems as though he's struggling even to motivate Democrats. I got a Democrat primary poll to show you guys, and as you'll notice, Gavin Newsom is polling worse than, quote, someone else. So supposedly the guy who's captured the moment, the savior of the party, is so unpopular that Democrat voters are saying anybody but Gavin Newsom, anybody but Kamala Harris, anybody but Pete Buttigieg. Give me a frickin' break. The only collapse here is the Gavin collapse, and of course the larger Democrat collapse that continues. You know, just last week we had Hakeem Jeffries responding to the massive voter registration shift, where we learned that Democrats essentially bled over 2 million voters across the country on voter rolls. But Hakeem Jeffries assured his Democrat minions that there's nothing to worry about. It's just Texas and Florida. It's not a big deal. It's two big populous states. We're not going to win those states anyways. No reason to panic.
Democrats are losing registered voters.
Most of that activity, as I understand it, has occurred in Florida and Texas. At the end of the day, it's also going to be important for us to continue to make clear to the American people what we stand for as Democrats. We believe in a strong floor and no ceiling. In this country, you work hard, you play by the rules. There should be no ceiling as to what success you can accomplish for yourself, for your family, for your children, for your grandchildren, and your community.
It's just Texas and Florida, he says. Well, not so sure that that's holding up. The bigger picture is even worse for Democrats. The brand is tanking nationwide. Harry Enton just broke it down on CNN.
The Democratic brand right now has about the appeal with the American voter as the Cracker Barrel rebrand has with the American consumers. Bad, bad, bad. What are you doing? Oh my goodness gracious. What are we talking about here in terms of big party registration changes in the key swing states? Let's look at the key 4 swing states that in fact do keep track of registration by party. Look, the Republican Party is in their best position at this point in the cycle since at least 2005. In all 4 of these key battleground states, we go out to the Southwest. Arizona. How about Nevada? Republicans haven't done this well since 2005. Oh my goodness gracious, at this point in the cycle. North Carolina, I couldn't find a point at which Republicans were doing better at this point in the cycle. It's at least this century. It probably goes way back in the last century. And Pennsylvania, very similar. Republicans doing better at this point than at any point this century, at least as far as I could find. Now, what types of gains are we talking about here for the Republican Party? Well, let's compare it to this point during the first Trump administration all the way back in 2017. Look at this. The Republican Party gains in party registration compared to this point back in 2017 during the Trump first administration. In Arizona, you got a Republican gain of 3 points. Okay, how about Nevada? Up the hill we go, even though we're sticking in the Southwest. A gain of 6 points. How about, again, we come to the East Coast, North Carolina, a gain of 8 points for the Republicans. And in the Keystone State, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, again, we're talking about a gain of 8 points. My goodness gracious, for Republicans, they are converting old former Democrats to their side of the ledger, as well as picking up new voters, registering new voters, and it absolutely paid off for them back in the 2024 election.
It's happening everywhere. And Gavin Newsom's little stunt here, his pathetic little propaganda display, his theatrical performance, the Gavin drama, well, obviously, it hasn't moved the needle at all, if anything. He's simply shown himself on the national stage, and now more people than before know that he's a complete shit stain. Again, I know all these partisan Democrats on social media every now and then post a poll that looks absolutely devastating for President Trump and the GOP, but I'm just having a hard time buying it because when you do the analysis, well, it just doesn't seem to line up. I don't think we're seeing a Gavin surge. I think this is a Gavin crash. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.